We're live. It's back. It's the Anvil pregame show. And we got Mr. Clyde Oliver on scene at the TIAA Stadium. Is that what it's called?
Huh?
Is it the TIAA Stadium?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't play the intro?
Nah, we just jumped right into it, man.
Oh, okay. My bad. That's what I was waiting on. I had the phone on to my ear, waiting on the sounds.
My apologies. I should have told you.
Nah, we good. What we talking about?
So you're live on location. It's TIAA Stadium, right?
Yeah, TIAA Bank.
All right. So what's it like down there? What's the atmosphere?
I mean, I say typical fan stadium. People rolling in, people excited about their squad. It's only week 2, so at this point, this place is still full of hope. Just one loss. You know how they are.
Still full of hope, huh?
I couldn't remember the fan. You remember the fan that wanted to meet up down here? His name is fleeting me.
Tyler
Is it like
Dubreeze?
Tony? Like Tony Lee? Am I saying that right?
Yes, I think you are correct.
All right, Tony Lee, if you are available, I am walking to my section, which is in the 140s, but I'm kind of hanging out in the carousel area.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look, now that you got your personal business out of the way,
Huh?
let's jump right into this thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, Tony just jumped on and said, let's go, Jags. Tony, did you catch what Clyde was throwing at you? Say it again,
Yeah,
Clyde.
I think my service is kind of crappy, man. You going in and out pretty good.
Okay. Tony said he'll be there in 10. But, anyways, Clyde, let's talk receivers. How are we going to fare today?
Uh, I guess we got to get to the point, right? So
Right
we
to the
don't have
point, baby.
we don't have a star. Michael Pittman's out, but we still are not out to fight. We still got players. So this is, I guess, when you want the opportunity, there's no time like the present. And so all the boys got the opportunity. Mike, Harris, Dez, uh, Austin, Naheem still get a lot of looks. So we got Matt Ryan, who to me is more efficient, more capable of leading a bunch of young guys. So I'm not in a big nervous panic, but I would be lying if I was to say that I'm 100% confident there will be no issues. I fully expect routes that are run in the wrong manner. Maybe timing is off for a guy or two. There might be a drop. Bad decision might lead to a pick. But we can play through all of that as we showed last week. So I'm still confident in Chris Ballard's decisions with the group that we have, and this is that test, early game, early test.
It's definitely going to be a test, and I absolutely 100% agree with you. Um, I trust this young receiving core. Absolutely do. Like we talked about on your live earlier, they wouldn't be where they're at if they didn't have the talent.
Yeah,
Now they just have to have the opportunity.
right.
Well, today's their opportunity. So shit or shine, baby. And hopefully they're all out there shining.
Yep. I can't agree anymore, man. Because I mean, the proof's in the pudding, right? Like we were saying on the pre-game show. But basically, expect a full box all the time, 8 in the box, man on man, single high safety. Now they're gonna probably live off the fact that hey, our receivers are not proven, so we'd rather stop the best running back in the NFL. But to me, size, we got speed, and we got difference makers. They just got to make plays, and once they make plays, JT will close them out. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think so too. And honestly, I can see the game plan technically going heavy on the pass game
Yeah.
because the opposition is thinking, hey, you got the best back in the league. So we're not worried about your young wide receiver core. I think we can shut them down doing one on ones. So Frank's thinking the same thing. So he's
Yeah,
like, all right, you think you can shut my young receivers down one-on-one? You're going to have to prove it to me. And
I
I think
agree wholeheartedly, man.
I honestly see him coming out, especially in the first half, being heavy on the passing game.
Yep.
And
And
if it's not there, then you open up that running game.
true that. And then we have to on the defensive side of the ball, we got to remember how last year started. Last year started with letting Trevor Lawrence get hot. He got hot really quick and never cooled off. And I think that was because we were playing too lax, gave him too much respect. So we got to heat him up. You know, you got to send people after him. You got to get him to move off his spot, and we got to just cover. This is what we got Stephen Gilmore for, right? This is why we got Kenny Moore if he goes today. This is why we built this defense to be able to be faster, to be quicker, to be more athletic. You know, so Nick Cross, Julian Blackman's back. Like we just got to. Within the day, you just got to play, right, Pat? You got to
Absolutely.
play.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people, especially last week, carried over last season's bitches, gripes,
Uh-huh.
complains, and moans about Frank Reich making the play call.
Right.
And I'll complain about his play calling, but only to the fact that, in my opinion, he's not fully into the game on all three phases because he's into that notebook.
Yeah.
Not that he's a bad play caller. I've never said that. I've never said Frank's a bad play caller. And
Right.
okay, so you say he's a bad play caller, but yet your offense got 500 something yards of offensive movement
Yeah.
last week. How's
Right.
that being a bad play caller? I don't see that.
And I think it's because it's situations, right? So people remember the plays that are not made way more than they remember the ones that are. You see what I'm
Ex-
saying?
exactly. And, so you say, yeah, you had 500 yards in offense, but you tied. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that comes down to execution, and that's
Right.
on our players.
Yep.
Like you said, Clyde, we got to get out there. We got to execute. You got to make the plays. You
Yep.
you got to make those opportunities count every single time.
Absolutely.
And that's what it comes down to. You can bitch about a kicker. You can bitch about the head coach playing the calls. You can bitch about this, but you got to put responsibility where it is. Those players have a job to do. They have to do it. They have to make those catches. They got to make the blocks. They got to make those cuts on those runs. It that's the way the game is won.
And I
Execution.
will say this too. Our core group are veterans. The Nelsons, the Ryans, the Jonathan Taylors, you know what I'm saying, Naheem Hines. So what I'm getting at is I feel like Frank got to be able to be liberal enough to listen to his squad. So just like, there's times that we listened to him last year when Nelson was like, hey, can we get after it and just run? Like, if you call a play that's not sitting well, don't be afraid to say, Frank, I don't think that's the best look. You the head coach, I get it, but this is working. This is a JT play. Let's get away from the fancy shit. Let's just get after it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think with that more mature leadership that we've got now, you'll
Yeah.
get more of that. Hey, Tony says he'll buy you dinner at Ford's Garage, St. Augustine, after the game if you've got time for a dinner. A dinner and a
Uh,
meetup.
okay, I'll let him know.
Okay, you heard that, Tony. I'll let you know. But Clyde's got a date.
Because
Clyde's got a
I got a pretty
date.
ride ahead of me. So I don't know if I want to, like, especially if it rains, because it's like a 6-hour drive, so I don't want to get caught in that. So I got class early in the morning.
Yeah. Tracy, we'll get into those red zone calls here in a second. Country, welcome, brother.
What's up, guys?
Are you hungover or what?
Maybe just a little bit.
All right, Pat, I'm going to get ready to jump off here. It's getting louder, bro, and I can barely hear you. I don't want it to be a terrible stream for y'all.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
All right, I'm looking at the kicking crew down here, though, the new kicking crew. So Bubba got them down here working. They working on snaps and settling right now, so we'll see how that goes.
All right.
Great spot to the walkway. Could you?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. All right,
You
man.
just get in trouble.
I know, right? You get me in trouble. All right.
All right. Enjoy the game,
All right.
brother.
Later.
Later.
Yeah.
Later, bro.
So country, we you heard what we was catching on a lot with the young receivers that we're putting out there. We talked about
Absolutely.
execution. We talked about game plan. But Big Unk brought up a great question about Frank Reich's play calling in the red zone. You wanna jump in on that?
Yeah, we can. Let's get into it. I mean, so we all know Frank Reich and how aggressive he can be on his play calls, right?
Yep.
So he needs to stop being so conservative. I think at the red zone. I mean, I think that's where we really need to be the most aggressive. We've never, for some reason, this team, as aggressive as Frank has been all this time and is what he's known for some reason, we cannot keep the foot on the throat of our opponent, right? So I think that's when we need to be, the most brutal, the most physical, the most hard hitting team out there is just, you know, keep it physical, keep your foot on the throat, and just, run downhill and just get that ball into that end zone. Quit playing so conservatively with those little floating passes or, whatever. That's where we always struggled.
Yep. If you going for the jugular, go for it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
don't don't say you're going to go for the jugular and then give a gut shot. Cut that
Yep.
fucking throat, baby. Go for
Yep.
that throat, 100%. Now, last week, that red zone wildcat stuff was a little crazy. I understand the thought process behind it because this game's about confusion, and if you can confuse your opponents, you can manipulate them.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand it. I just didn't agree with it. Not when you got the
Absolutely.
best guard in the game and the best running back in the game on what the 4 yard line. Run
Yep.
that ball right up behind Big Q. Get in that damn end zone.
Absolutely.
To me, that's just old school hard nosed football.
Yep. And
You
sometimes,
know,
that old school way is sometimes not. I'm not saying it's the only way, but sometimes it's the best way.
sometimes it's the best way. 100% right. When to me, there's times when that trickery is called for, and then there's times when that hard nosed old school football is called for. And I think when you're that close to the end zone, and you got some of the best players in the NFL, time to go old school hard nose on that.
Mm-hmm. Time to run downhill. Put your shoulders down, just run right there, right like you said, behind the biggest or the best guard in the NFL. So
Yeah,
that's what we
absolutely.
that's what we need to see today. Because I mean, these Jacksonville Jaguars think they have us already, and I know they do because we haven't won there in 14 years. So
It's
you
something
know,
stupid.
yeah. So today's the day. If you're going to be aggressive at any time of the season, today is the day. Don't let up. Do not play conservative. Do not let up.
No, and if I was Frank Reich going back there, knowing I haven't won in Jacksonville as my tenure as head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, I'm throwing everything at him. I am
Mm-hmm.
I am going to beat them with the tail of the Jaguar. I'm not letting up. I'm not giving them one damn yard. I'm not giving them one damn point. That's it. Your days of having my number are over.
Yep. And I mean, this is probably every football game, though. And my opinion is too is like it's all going to come down to the trenches yet again. The offensive line's going to do their jobs. Like we talked about on Tuesday in Houston, they didn't. Their timing was off. Their execution was off. Everything was just off about that offensive line. So they need to get their foot out of their ass or put a foot in their ass and just do their jobs, execute well, and just play hard nosed football up front. And then the defensive line, they got to get pressure on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the dude's a stud. As much as we talk about Jacksonville and how bad they are, he's still a stud. He's a pro for a reason. He's
Absolutely.
there. He's there. So I mean, that defensive line has got to get pressure. And the linebacker core is going to be aggressive, and then the corners have to stay with the receivers, stick to their assignments. And those are just. I mean, it's simple. It's simple football talk, but in the end, with this game and how this team's playing right now, and what we saw, it's crucial. It's very, very crucial.
Absolutely. And I hate having to say this on the second game of the season. But in my opinion, this is a must-win game.
Absolutely.
An absolute must-win game. One, Jaguar has had our number at home or in their stadium for quite a few years. That
Mm-hmm.
monkey's got to get off our damn back. Two, it's a
He's starting to
divisional
get ahead.
game. It's a
Mhm.
divisional game. Three, you better make a statement to the rest of the division and the rest of the league, that we're not a fluke team. We're here to
Exactly.
play. We're here to play good, sound, fundamental football, and we're going to take you all the way down to the wire.
Absolutely. And like you just said, we have this divisional gauntlet out the gate. I mean, it's crucial that we win these first few games, and especially this game. I mean, like you just said, I know it's week 2, but I think my opinion with the win here is, man, we have Kansas City at home next week. Kansas City at home. And we have to go in there positive. We have to go in there on cloud 9. We have to be just ready to go because they're going to bring it at home. And we got, as fans, we got to bring it too. We got to bring the loudness, the juice, that they want. And, we have to say in a high place going into Kansas City versus at home next week.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we covered just about everything we was going to cover. Anything else you want to throw in there?
No, just reiterate what we said. What?
Let's bring up the kicking game.
Okay. Oh yeah, let's bring up the kicking game.
Yeah,
So
we got rid of one kicker. We brought another kicker in. How you
we
feel
did.
about that?
Personally, as a fan, I'm going to talk as a fan real quick. We're all fans. Obviously, you got the fan perspective, but emotionally, I'm going to talk as a fan real quick. It hurts to see him gone. It really hurts to see Rodrigo gone. He had a really good underdog story. I hate to see him go, but business is business. This is the NFL. I don't think he should have lost his job in week 1, like we discussed last week, but we got to move on now. So Chase McLaughlin, next man up, brother.
There's your answer, Aaron Jared. Chase McLaughlin, and he did real good for us a couple years back when he subbed in for Vinatieri.
He did. He really did. I mean, he was accurate, but I mean, the only thing that kind of worries me is his long kicking game. He's worried. He said he wants to get back to 50-yard plus field goals again. So that kind of worries me, but we'll see what the kid's got. I mean, like you just said, he did well for us, so let's see what he's got.
Yeah, see, I'm different when it comes to my kickers. I don't want to rely on my kicker kicking 50-plus yard field goals to win a game or to lose a game.
Oh, I agree.
I want to rely on my offensive studs to get us in a winning position. And if
Absolutely.
you're at the 50-yard line, that's not a winning position. Your offense did not do its job.
No.
Your offense has to do better. I don't like leaving things to refs, and I don't like leaving things to kickers.
You shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
in this game, if we just do what we just talked about, be aggressive and just cut that jugular instead of gut punching them, our kicker won't need to. So we won't have to rely on our kicker.
Exactly. Don't put your kicker in that kind of situation where there's so many variables for every 5 yards that a kicker adds to the kick.
Mm-hmm.
So many more variables. So don't do that to your kicker. Don't do that to your team. Put your team in the best position to win. And that's getting it in the damn end zone.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, good luck to Hot Rod wherever he ends up. He's a talented kicker. I'm sure he'll end up on another team. But like we talked about last week, I trust Ballard's decision. And if you go back and you look at Hot Rod's stats, if you will, he has been trending this way.
Yeah.
He really has been trending on the missed shots.
Mm-hmm. And I was telling one of our friends the other day, like, ever since that injury in Baltimore, his kicking has not been the same.
Yeah, maybe it's a leg, a mental issue. I don't know.
I don't know either, because I mean, you've seen how he looked when he got injured in Baltimore. If everybody remembers, he was sitting on the ground. He looked depressed. He looked, defeated. And I mean, it was his hip too. It was his kicking hip. So they have to have that extension. That projection. That they had to do, and it's just like he just doesn't have it no more. I don't know if that hip's just really tight, or whatever. Or, I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me that since that injury, he's been doing that trend, like you just said, just that downward spiral. So I don't know.
So he won the job in camp and lost the first game.
Yep.
You can't turn a blind eye to trends like that. You just can't
No.
do it. Now, I don't blame him for us. Blame him for us not winning the game. You know, I don't put no blame on one individual player, but I can see why Ballard made the decision that he did.
Mm-hmm. I can
So,
too. And Ballard,
anyways,
we trust, right?
Absolutely. You know, our trenches, they gotta offensively, you gotta hold up. You gotta give Matt Ryan some time. I'm getting reports that some heavy rainstorms are coming in after halftime. So you better jump out on a lead really quick on this game, because if it is heavy rain, that's going to affect your passing game.
Yep.
So get out on them early. Our defensive line has just got to pressure the shit out of Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is a good quarterback. Yeah, he's young, but he's good. He's accurate. He's got a little bit of wheels on his feet. Got a hell of an arm. So you better get to him. But hey, I'm going to jump off. I just had my hot wings delivered.
Okay.
So as you can hear, there's a lot of commotion going on, and it's Fat Boy's time to eat.
Hey, you go eat, brother. And guess what? We have game time in an hour, y'all. Matt Ryan is 4-0 in Jacksonville. Let's see if we can't get him 5-0.
All right, appreciate everybody. Go Colts.
Go Colts, everybody.